What did you say? Does my skirt have pockets? Duh, it's 2026. Even babies need pockets. And pockets are actually so easy to make. So why would they ever leave pockets off of any garment? Today, I'm going to show you how to add side seam pockets to a circle skirt. I added timestamps to the description so that you can skip to specific parts of the video, along with a link to a printable guide that you can download, print, and use along with this sewing tutorial. If you're a member of my Patreon, the printable guide is there along with an ad-free version of this episode. It's a pocket that's sewn into the side seam of a skirt, dress, shorts, or trousers. The fact that it's stitched into the side seam means that it's hidden, which also means that the overall look of whatever garment you're making isn't compromised, like when you use cargo pockets or patch pockets. Cutting a side seam pocket is very easy. You can use this technique that I'm about to show you to draft a pattern on paper so that you don't have to do it every single time you're gonna cut a side seam pocket. I folded my fabric so that I have 4 layers. The first 2 layers are right sides together and the second 2 layers are right sides together. So when I'm done cutting these pockets, I will have 2 pairs that are right sides together. I start by drawing a straight line like this, and then I draw a curved line from the top to the bottom like this. This doesn't have to be precise, by the way. If you want your pockets to be bigger, you can use a bigger size fabric and draw a much bigger curve. If you just want to be able to fit your phone, some keys, lipstick or lip gloss, and a pair of sunglasses, then the size I'm making will work just fine for you. You can also make it as long as you want, but for example, if your skirt side seam is 20 inches, then you don't want to make the straight edge of your side seam pocket any more than about 16 inches, unless you want to have your pocket hanging out below the hem of the skirt. After drawing that, I cut on the lines, and that gives me 4 pocket pieces. Now it's time to stitch them on. But first, if you're new here, I'm Gabby. I'm Jamaican, and on this channel, I share sewing tips and tutorials for the guys and girls who want to learn how to make their own clothes. Every now and then, I throw in some tips on how to make sewing into a money-making venture. If that sounds like your vibe, subscribe and join the QUAINT tribe, and be sure to click that bell so whenever I post, you'll be notified. To sew the pockets to the skirt, you need to have a side seam, but that isn't usually the case when you cut a circle skirt the traditional way. So you will have to cut that circle into 2 pieces like this. I'm making a double circle skirt, so I already have 2 pieces. I like to serge the raw edges around the curve of each pocket piece, but if you don't have a serger, you can do an overcast stitch, or you can finish the raw edge with bias tape. I measure 1.5 inches from the top of the skirt on the right side and put the pocket piece on top of that mark. The pocket piece and the skirt piece are right sides together, and the curve of the pocket is on the inside of the skirt piece. If it's on the outside, then you're doing it wrong. If you need stability, you can pin the pocket pieces to the skirt. I stitch from the top of the pocket piece to the bottom of the pocket piece with an allowance that's less than 1/2 inch. I finish the raw edge using my serger. Next, I pull the pocket away from the skirt and give it a press with my iron. The allowance should be like this, not this. After that, I top stitch the pockets. I do this on all 4 sides, and this is how it looks when I'm done. Now I put the 2 skirt pieces right sides together and add some pins to the fabric. And when it's time for me to stitch, I stitch down the side seams, leaving a gap that's big enough to fit my hands or whatever I plan to put inside them. And then I stitch around the curve of the pocket pieces. But let me go over that again. I stitch from here to here, then I start stitching again from here to here. Then I stitch from here all the way around to here. I flip the skirt over to the wrong side and I pull the pocket bag towards the front of the skirt. I press the side seams and the pockets to make it nice and crisp, and this is the end result. You will notice that before ironing, the pocket looks very puffy, but after ironing, it lays very nice and flat. Ironing is one of those things that sets your sewing project apart from somebody who didn't bother to iron. Like, their stuff looks amateur, but your stuff looks professional. It looks store-bought or factory made because you actually press. If you hate pressing, I want you to just find a way to love it, okay? Turn some music on and dance while you press, or talk to somebody on the phone while you press, so that you can start loving pressing, because pressing is one of those things that can make or break your sewing project. And I want you to be making garments that you feel proud of. If you made it all the way here and you're excited to try this sewing technique, I want you to comment the word patty, because these pockets looked like patty. When you actually sew these pockets, I want you to come back to this video and let me know how it worked. If you're proud of yourself and you want to show off your work, post a picture on your Instagram story or your Instagram feed and tag me at QUAINT. Like this video, share with a friend, and I'll see you in the next sewing tutorial.